Thank you so much for coming on. We do want to give you a moment here. You've got an event coming up, something that you wanted to plug. You so humbly suggested that we wait to the end of the pod for it. So go ahead, take your moment here.
Yeah, I just feel that there's times and causes and organizations. I get a lot of organizations and stuff thrown at me to be a part of and to put my name to and to spend my time with. But there's one that's come up recently that I really, really have been enamored with, and it's called ABIS. It's called Advancing Beyond in Sports. The founder is Gary Charles, and they talk about certain things or advocate for things like equality in the sports realm. And so they have these weekends called, Champions and Legends weekends and the symposiums and things like that. So, Dr. Renee Miles Payne, I want to give her a shout out. I want to give April Taylor, a strategist, a shout out. I want to give Bowie State University Athletic Director Clyde Dowdy all shout outs for getting me involved with this particular organization. And they are having a great weekend coming up next weekend in Baltimore. Where they're going to be having a symposium. I'm going to be moderating a panel talking about hurt, healing, and advocacy, right? And we talk a lot about, on this podcast, we were talking about, well, Marshawn Lattimore was hurt, and how do you battle back through injury? There's the physical part of the game, but then there's also the mental part of the game. And then what happens when your career is over? Like, where do you transition, right? When you get hurt physically and mentally, how do you heal? And then how do you advocate for the mental capacity of some of these young athletes that are now going off of ESPN clips only and not putting in the work and whatever, and knowing that your career is over? So I wanted to moderate that panel because I think it's very, very fascinating to talk about the mental health. When you saw Simone Biles shut it down in the Olympics because she needed a mental break and whatever like that, this stuff is real. Right, you hear about load management in some of these games, whatever. How do you advocate and have those conversations going, right? So I'm doing a panel on that. I'm also moderating a fireside chat with Mr. Lawrence Ham. He's the Senior Director of Business Development for Events DC. And he's responsible for bringing a lot of events to the Washington D.C. area. A lot of stuff that FIFA's doing now with the World Cup, the Club Cup championships that are going on. That a couple of games were at Audi Field. I saw Juventus play the other day. They put up five goals in their game. I was at that event. There's the draft, the NFL draft coming to Washington D.C. Huge. I know our president took the announcement and he announced it, but the person behind all that was Lawrence Ham. And he's doing a lot with road races and running races and different events that are coming through the Senior PGA Championship that I went to Congressional, and I saw VJ Singh and Ernie Els, and Events DC is part of that. And I wanted to have a conversation with him to talk about the business of sports and the NIL and how that's all working, and business development within administrations and things of that nature. So I'm really, really excited about that. And then at nighttime, they are honoring some huge, huge names that people around this area know. One of them is a athletic legend. And Sonny Vaccaro, who was very instrumental in the Nike brand and Adidas and all those brands, brand management. He was involved. That he's getting a lifetime award. And then two names that Dom and Pop, you were very, very happy to hear that are going to be honored with legacy and achievement awards is John Lucas and Walt Williams. They are both going to be honored at this dinner that is honoring the just overall breadth and depth of people making an impact in sports. And we all know how important Walt Williams was. I mean, he saved Maryland basketball. when that whole Len Bias thing and Bob Wade and then Gary Williams came in and he could have gone anywhere, but he stayed at home. And if it wasn't for Walt Williams, I don't know where Maryland basketball would have been. And he literally could call him the high sock savior of the Maryland basketball program. And to see him being honored, he still works with the organization, with the school, doing sideline reporting with Naki and Holiday, and he's just such a deserving recipient of that. And then John Lucas. I mean, that team that he was on that changed the way because they didn't get to the Final Four because they lost to North Carolina State in a documentary that's out. Just John Lucas and what he did with Maryland basketball, it's just phenomenal. That those and the many others that are being honored. So it's a great weekend. What a great weekend. I'm sure you're going to put up the information. We are abis.org if you want to get tickets to go up there and root on these guys that are going to be going into and ladies that are going to be going into the being honored at the event. But then the symposium with a lot of good conversations from finance to NIL. And again, I'm doing this thing on mental health. I just feel that they do a great job. Gary Charles does a great job highlighting all these things in sports. So I just feel that I don't put my name, image, or likeness to just anything. And I'm all in on this one. I think it's going to be a great weekend in Baltimore. And I encourage people that are watching your podcast and have the time and the finances to go and get enriched and encouraged. I would encourage you to do so.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Crossland's finest, Walt Williams.
Yeah. If you go back into the history of Maryland basketball, there's no more pivotal person in the history of that school than the Wizard.